Welcome, history buffs and adventure seekers, to our latest YouTube documentary about the incredible land of Egypt. This ancient civilization is not only home to some of the world's most iconic landmarks, but also a melting pot of strange and wonderful contradictions. From its rich history to its modern marvels, Egypt is a land of opposites that will have you scratching your head one minute and laughing the next. Join us as we unravel 18 mind-blowing facts that will make you look at Egypt in a whole new light. Fact number 1. The pyramids, tombs or ancient fridges, are the Pyramids of Giza, the epitome of ancient architectural wonder. But did you know that they may not have been just tombs for the pharaohs? Some experts believe that these massive structures were actually ancient refrigerators. That's right, refrigerators. The cool, dark interior of the pyramids was perfect for storing food and drinks, which the ancient Egyptians believed would be necessary for the pharaohs in the afterlife. So, were they actually ancient pyramids or ancient fridges? Fact number 2. The tomb of King Tutankhamun, a Rosetta Stone or ancient IKEA furniture. When Howard Carter first discovered the tomb of King Tut in 1922, he was astonished by the sheer number of items inside. From golden statues to intricate jewelry, the tomb was bursting with treasures. But perhaps the most unusual find was a humble item that has sparked a ton of debate in the archaeological community. What was this mysterious item, you ask? A simple wooden bed. While some believe it was a symbol of royalty, others argue that it was simply ancient IKEA furniture. Fact number 3. The Sphinx, a work of art or the world's oldest selfie. If you thought the Sphinx was just a giant sculpture, think again. According to some historians, the Sphinx was actually an ancient version of a selfie. You see, the Sphinx was originally carved out of the bedrock with the head of Pharaoh Khafre, the king who built the second largest pyramid at Giza. So basically, it was like the pharaoh was saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm immortalized in stone." Talk about an ego trip, right? Fact number 4. Cleopatra, a beauty queen or a Phara-shionista. When it comes to ancient beauty queens, no one tops Cleopatra. But this legendary ruler wasn't just known for her cunning political skills and charming good looks. She was also a trendsetter in the fashion world. Cleopatra's hairstyles and makeup techniques were so on point, they were all the rage in ancient Egypt. Some say she even used crushed beetles to make her lipstick. Can you imagine strutting around with crushed bugs on your lips? Hey, beauty is pain, right? Fact number 5. The Egyptian mummification process, a delicate art or a giant preserving jar. The ancient Egyptians were pretty obsessed with death, but that didn't mean they were sloppy about it. They turned mummification into a high art form. But what if I told you that one of the key ingredients was a common household item you probably have in your kitchen? That's right, the ancient Egyptians used vinegar in the mummification process to help preserve the bodies of the deceased. Hey, maybe they were onto something. We should probably start pickling ourselves, just in case. Fact number 6. Egyptian temples, sacred spaces or ancient real estate. If you thought the real estate market in modern-day cities was cutthroat, wait until you hear about ancient Egyptian temples. These grand structures weren't just places of worship, they were also massive real estate ventures. Think about it. The bigger and more extravagant your temple, the more impressive you looked to the gods and your neighbors. So, if you had the coin, you could basically buy your way to eternal glory. It's like they say, location, location, location. Fact number 7. The ancient Egyptian calendar, a precise science or a total roll of the dice. The ancient Egyptians were ahead of their time in a lot of ways, but when it came to calendars, they weren't exactly precise. You see, their year had only 360 days. Which means that every 4 years, they'd completely lose a season. Not exactly the most efficient way to keep track of time, right? But hey, when you're making up your own religion and worshipping cats, maybe precision isn't your top priority. Fact number 8. The Rosetta Stone, an ancient linguistic breakthrough or just a bunch of ancient gossip. The Rosetta Stone is one of the most important archaeological finds of all time. But believe it or not, this iconic slab of rock wasn't just a linguistic breakthrough, it was also full of ancient gossip. You see, most of the inscription is a bunch of praises for King Ptolemy V, which is like the ancient version of a PR release. But there's also a juicy bit where Ptolemy throws some serious shade at his predecessors. Talk about airing out your dirty laundry. Fact number 9. Hieroglyphs, a complex language or the original emoji. If you think the Egyptians were masters of linguistics, think again. Their hieroglyphic writing system was basically just a bunch of pictures. So, they weren't just writing down the thoughts and stories, they were telling them like a comic strip. If you saw the symbol of a bird, it could mean, fly, or it could just be a picture of a bird. Talk about ambiguous communication. It's like the ancient Egyptian version of, what's your sign? Fact number 10. The Nile River, a lifeline or a highway for water monsters. The Nile River was like the beating heart of ancient Egypt. It was the country's lifeline, providing fertile soil, a water source, and even a means of transportation. But did you know that according to ancient Egyptian mythology, the Nile was also home to some pretty wild creatures? From giant serpents to man-eating crocodiles, the Nile was like a watery Jurassic Park. Just imagine trying to navigate those treacherous waters on a daily basis. Talk about a rough commute. Fact number 11. Pharaohs, divine rulers or just a bunch of guys with big hats. In ancient Egypt, pharaohs were considered living gods, the supreme rulers of the land. But let's be real for a minute, these guys were just human beings with some seriously impressive headwear. Think about it, if you were wearing a towering golden hat with a cobra on top, people would probably take you pretty seriously too. But at the end of the day, these pharaohs were just dudes with big egos, a lot of money, and a penchant for pyramid building. Fact number 12. The Pharaoh's Curse, supernatural protection or just a really bad day. Have you ever heard of the Pharaoh's Curse? The idea that if you mess with an ancient Egyptian tomb, you'll be cursed for all eternity. Well, it's kind of like the ultimate, beware of dog, sign. But was it really a supernatural curse or just a bunch of superstitious hooey? Some archaeologists think the Pharaoh's Curse was just a PR move to keep tomb robbers at bay. So, basically, it was the ancient Egyptian equivalent of putting a "Do Not Disturb" sign on your door. Fact number 13. Anubis, guardian of the dead or world's greatest party animal. When you think of Anubis, the ancient Egyptian god of the dead, you might imagine a Grim Reaper-type figure, shrouded in mystery and darkness. But in reality, Anubis was actually considered quite the party animal, pun definitely intended. He was often depicted as a jackal-headed figure, leading the dead to the afterlife with a big ol' grin on his face. So, maybe the ancient Egyptians saw death as one big party instead of something to be feared. That's one way to look at it, I guess. Fact number 14. Ancient Egyptian medicine, advanced healing or magical mumbo-jumbo. When it came to medicine, the ancient Egyptians weren't exactly the most scientific bunch. They believed that illness was caused by evil spirits and that the key to healing was appeasing the gods. So, if you were sick, you might have had a priest recite some incantations over you or rub some crocodile dung on your head. Yep, you read that right. But hey, they also knew a thing or two about herbal remedies, so at least they weren't totally clueless. Fact number 15. The scarab beetle, symbol of rebirth or creepy crawly nightmare fuel. The scarab beetle was considered a sacred symbol in ancient Egypt, representing rebirth, renewal, and creation. But let's be honest, these little critters are also kinda creepy. They were often depicted pushing a ball of dung, which the Egyptians associated with the sun god Ra. So, in a way, they were the odd recycling specialists, turning poop into treasure. Not exactly the most glamorous job, but somebody's gotta do it, right? Fact number 16. Cleopatra's pearls, a fashion statement or financial security. Cleopatra was not only a famous beauty but also a cunning politician. When she was summoned to meet Julius Caesar, she reportedly wrapped herself in a carpet and had it delivered to his quarters. When Caesar unrolled the carpet, Cleopatra emerged, dressed to the nines in her finest jewels, including a stunning pearl necklace. But this wasn't just a fashion statement. It was also a clever ploy. Fact number 17. The pearl dissolving trick, Cleopatra's party trick or a health hazard. So, how did Cleopatra use her pearls to outsmart Caesar? Well, legend has it that Cleopatra dissolved one of her famous pearls in a cup of vinegar and drank it in front of him. This supposedly impressed Caesar with her wealth and her boldness. But let's be real, that couldn't have been good for her stomach. Still, when you're trying to woo a powerful Roman general, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Fact number 18. The Library of Alexandria, the original Wikipedia or a burning question. The Library of Alexandria was a symbol of the ancient world's intellectual curiosity. It housed a vast collection of texts from around the Mediterranean, making it a hub of knowledge and scholarship. But what happened to this library is a bit of a burning question, pun intended. Some historians believe that Julius Caesar accidentally set the library on fire during the Alexandrian War, while others think it was deliberately destroyed by Christians or Muslims. Either way, it's a real tragedy that so much knowledge was lost.